today's video, I'm going to show you guys the best starter guide for a Rise crossover. But before I go do that, would you guys like yourself a chance to win a completely free Game Pass? All you need to do is drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your Roblox username down below. I pick one lucky winner each video. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get on with the video. You go ahead and just load into the game. You're gonna look something like, well, let's quickly unequip all of our units. So you are going to look at something along the lines of this. And if that actually let us unequip that, I'm not sure when to unequip our sword, but hey, you'll start off in the game with literally nothing. Just the very basic weapons you have on you. I'm sure, yeah, okay, we can unequip the sword. This is how you'll start off the game, just with your fists. And what you're gonna have to go and do is set up the first enemy you see, and that's gonna be soon do, and you're gonna have to start going ahead and punching them. And I'm not gonna lie, at the start the game is pretty hard, or at least it takes a bit of time to get some progress. But hey, as soon as you start making some progress in the game, you can skyrocket. So at the moment, I'm doing about 2 DPS, which honestly, it's a very painful when you are starting the game. But there isn't really a way to go ahead and skip this, because you need to go and do this. Because after you've went ahead and beaten, it shouldn't take you too long to go ahead and do. You will have the chance to rise the unit. You should always have auto rise on, especially at the start of the game. All it does is it just rise the unit. You get the 3 attempts. And if you haven't watched the anime, basically what a rising unit does is it can go ahead and give you the unit. So you basically get this guy on your team, and then what you have to do is just leave him. Of course, if you don't have any game passes, you have to manually go ahead and get him to attack things. I do have a game pass, so he is automatically just going to go and start hunting everything down. Of course, you want to rise the new ones that you go ahead and get. If you've got auto rise on, you can do that for free. You'll go ahead and get more of him on the team, so you can equip a few of them to go ahead and help us progress. Now, a really important thing is to mention is that you can go ahead and you can get game passes in the game. Game passes can go ahead and help you out a ton when it comes to progressing in the game. So I'm just going to go over them all briefly. Of course, you do not need game passes to progress in the game, but they can help out a lot. The main one being 2 times XP. If you just get 1 game pass, go for that. It's going to go ahead and actually 2 times the leveling of your units. You do not need auto clicker, 2x gems, or 2x cash. These are definitely not necessary. Extra equip is another amazing one that will increase your DPS by a massive amount. And auto attack is also really useful as well. So the auto upgrade at the minute will be 2 times XP, extra equip, and auto attack. Now you may be wondering, why am I explaining this so much? Especially for this video, I want to try and make it more the free to play side. Well, this game's really free to play, and it has a thing called the ticket shop. So basically, you use tickets to go ahead and purchase game passes. So you'll acquire tickets from going ahead and beating dungeon bosses in the game, but you can actually buy Game Pass with this. It's an amazing idea of the game, and it makes it much easier to progress through the whole entire game, as you literally get these Game Passes for completely free. You can also buy cash or gems. You don't really ever need any of these. You can also buy tickets, which I don't know how that goes ahead and work. But as you start progressing and playing the game, you'll notice something quite fast and quite early on. You're going to reach a cap very early on in the game, as the best units you can go ahead and get from the normal game is just going to go ahead and be the C rank ones, and they are very rare. Most of your things are going to be E rank, which means they are very bad. But the main purpose of the game, and especially again if you've watched the anime, you'll definitely know about this, is going ahead and doing dungeons. Now when a dungeon spawns, it will tell you where they spawn. You'll see a portal like this. Sometimes you can see a big red one. So basically there's 3 different types of dungeons in the game. There's the normal dungeon like this. Then you have a red gate, so it's basically, it'll be like this, but a lot bigger, and it'll be red. And then you have a double dungeon. You won't be able to tell what a double dungeon is until you actually go ahead and play throughout the dungeon and beat it. But if we want to go through this dungeon, it'll tell us the rank, and now basically the higher the rank, the better the rewards. Of course, every island has different things on it. So if you're on an easier island in the game, such as the starting island, having an S rank on them is actually possible to do, but having even just an E rank on the newest island in the game, which is the one with the skull over there, is basically impossible to do, or you need a decent team to go ahead and complete it. So anyway, though, this dungeon, it says it's an E rank, which is one of the easiest ones to join, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for these. I mean, still when you start off, this would be kind of useful, but you want basically in the start area, or I suppose this area, you want to get some of the higher rank ones, because dungeons have a lot better things. You press create and you press start, you can load into a dungeon, and now dungeons are going to have enemies that are a lot stronger than the usual ones, but you can also get them as units, and you have the possibility to get whatever rank dungeon is. Bad example, because this is rank E, so it means it is only going to have E rank units in, but if you had an S rank unit, it would mean every single unit in the dungeon is S rank. That's how you can get whole teams of S rank. And basically, when you do go and rise the unit, so you capture the unit, whatever you want to call it, there is a chance you'll get the higher rarity version of it. So when you get the higher version of rarity, you could be, for example, a B rank and it become an A rank. You be an S rank and it become a double S rank. So you could actually get really rare ones for not so much effort. Of course, the higher the rarity, the harder it is to go ahead and get them. These ones are super easy, so the chance of getting them is very high. They also, compared to my stuff, have very low health, but compared to the normal things, they will be a little bit stronger. Still, anyway, this is E rank, so it isn't really anything crazy. And as you progress through the dungeon, if you keep on taking out the enemies here, dungeons are quite easy to do. To fully clear a dungeon, you just need to take out every enemy. You don't need to rise them. You can sell them if you want for gems. As of the current time of day, though, gems and cash in this game don't really have a massive value. They don't really improve the gameplay a lot. Also, when you are clearing dungeons, I have a terrible example of it now, but I'll show you a little bit in the next dungeon that we go ahead and do. You want to clear it in stages. So I've completely cleared this one. It means the door will open here. But you want to go up in a straight line. That basically is usually the best way to do it, because you want to end up near the start, and you want to do this as fast as possible as you are timed during your dungeon. But some really handy tips you can go ahead and do when doing a dungeon. So dungeons will spawn every 30 minutes for 15 minutes. So every 30 minutes, a new dungeon will appear. It can be any rank in any location. It can be any type of dungeon. And that'll last for 15 minutes. And you can join that dungeon when it has 1 second left, and it will give you a new 15-minute timer. So what the strategy is that a lot of the higher level players do is they will start a dungeon. Where it's a dungeon they can beat or they can't beat, they'll progress through the whole entire dungeon, or at least as far as they can get to, but just before the dungeon's going to reset, they leave the game, they'll rejoin and go back to the dungeon, and they can now do the dungeon again. Why did you do this? Well, because you have a chance to get the units you progress through the game to get. You get another chance to get them, especially if you manage to clear the dungeon. You can do it as many times as possible. So if you have a really early on area dungeon, you can just speed them through it, and hey, you're trying to go ahead and get the boss in a higher rank, maybe it's an S rank dungeon, but it's on the earlier stages in the game, which means it actually isn't too hard for you to complete. You can just speed your way through it, do it once, say you didn't get the boss, or maybe you're just trying to get the boss from the dungeon, or it's a certain unit you're trying to hit from the dungeon. You can just keep on doing it again and again to progress through the game. After completing a dungeon, like I mentioned, it'll give you a chance to try the dungeon again. You really don't need to go and do that unless it's a dungeon you want to do. If you want to do it 100%, do it again. It will cost, so it just costs gems. So I noticed the gems were useless earlier. I will take that back, as they are useful when it comes to redoing dungeons. It'll also ask you for the choice of tickets or Robux, all of which are actually pretty easy usually to go ahead and do. Now, there is a few other things in the game, which these aren't insanely crazy, and this is weapons. So as you can see, weapons, they are a really rare chance to drop from bosses. You can also get them for playing the game. Majority of weapons you get are terrible. This is basically like a skim for it, but either way, these weapons, these aren't really that good, and especially when you've got S rank units, or even lower rank units, even just a really low rank unit, it will basically out damage the weapons. So for me, it's pretty much useless using them, especially when I'm doing about an average of at least about, I think it's 200 million it's saying right now. That's just from one hit. If they had more health, it would show a lot more. So weapons are pretty useless. Then the next thing in the game is mounts. So as you can see, I don't really have any mounts. I only have this one here, which unfortunately you can't obtain. When you obtain a mount, you want to go ahead and just press M, and you jump in the air and press M, and you'll be able to use it. To get a mount, basically they all spawn, and I'm not sure if there's an exact time limit for this, but every now and then it'll pop in a screen saying a wild mount has appeared. What you have to do, and it's already really easy to do if you have a mount. If you don't have a mount, this actually can be quite a lot of effort, is you then need to search around the whole entire map to find where this mount has spawned. You then have to beat the mount, and you have a chance to rise it to get the mount, and that's how you get mounts in the game. There is other means of transport as well, but mounts are the main way to go ahead and do it. Anyway, I tried to keep the video short, so I didn't get too much detail in some sections. If you want to make a more in-depth tutorial on the game, or the certain areas you want to do, tell me down below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.